If you feel alone, Christmas can be tricky. And our local heroes needed a giant sack full of fixing.
I really want to thank you for your work. So many of your things mean so much to me, and I just want to thank you for your work.
That's very, very sweet of you. I've peaked. After this, I don't think there's much to come, but I'm glad I made
Well, that actually leads me to my next thing. What do I need to do to get you to direct again?
It's just not going to happen. Although I have actually directed the pop video for the Ed Sheeran song in the middle of this of the movie, and I rather enjoyed that. But the big secret was that we shot it entirely like in my house. So maybe the only thing we can do is just come up with a movie that's just set in my street, and I might do that.
Got it. Okay, so it's basically, I won't pressure you.
I don't want to get up early, and I don't want someone to offer me bacon sandwiches every morning.
What?
I'll just eat them.
I understand. When we spoke last time, you mentioned to me you had a much longer cut of pirate radio.
Yes.
And now that I have you again, what do I need to do to get you to show it to me? There's like a 5 hour.
I've got to find it, the 4.5 hour version. But I did watch.
You said 5 hour, 15 minutes.
5 hours, 15. I think even I thought that was a bit long.
Right.
But the 4.5 hour one, I'd love us to watch together.
Right. So I'm just going to ask. Please look for it, and
okay.
then
all right.
Send me.
You follow me.
Right.
You stalk me for it.
I'm dead serious, though. I really would like to see it. So this is your first animated movie.
Yeah.
What the hell took so long?
Do you know, I just don't know that I thought I could sort of presume to do an animated movie. And what's been so gorgeous about this one is I think, what I've written has tended to be quite close to my own life and quite realistic. And I think if I'd ever thought I was going to do an animated movie, I would have thought, and it better be set in space. And it better have huge monsters in it. And what was lovely is that I'd written these small little children's books, and someone said, let's make an animated movie, but let's make it intimate. Like the Charlie Brown Christmas animation, which I so loved when I was little. So I think what took me so long was misunderstanding that it might be possible to do an animated movie that was really kind of personal and just to do with little feelings at Christmas rather than sort of a whole alternate universe.
What did you learn making this that you would take with you if you do another animated film?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think the detail of emotion that comes out in this movie with the little kids' faces and everything like that is a real joy to me. So I think that I would take with it that I could tell any kind of story with any kind of detail of emotion, and it would be fulfilled.
Is there a chance I can get you to direct an animated movie where you direct from home?
No, this movie is directed by Simon Otto, and this movie would be terrible if it were directed by me. He was so wonderful. It was so wonderful, the patience. And my big takeaway is people in animation are nicer than people in live action. And the reason is, I think, because they know they're going to have to spend, as it were, 5 years together in the same cell. So they better behave well from day one.
One of the things about animation, even though this is based on your books, one of the things about animation is it often goes through big changes during the production process. So were there any big changes that happened on this, or was it pretty much what you wrote at the beginning?
Well, if there was one big change, the first time we screened the movie had a much gentler beginning. And actually, this has happened a couple of times in movies I've done. In Bridget Jones, that song she sings at the beginning all by myself, that came later in the movie. And we thought, let's tell everyone she's lonely and sad. And in this movie, it now starts with a kind of flash forward to Santa arriving. So it starts with an action sequence like Raiders of the Lost Ark. So that was the one big change. That always just came in the middle. So there was one dramatic moment, but otherwise, it's pretty well the movie that we wrote.
One of the things that I commend you about with this is that the kids are dealing with like real issues and second guessing their worth at times. And it's real people. So talk a little bit about writing that and why it was important to not just like dumb it down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've always thought that what was interesting to me was the only thing I could write convincingly about. So in this in the book, there was a lonely boy, and I didn't explain why it was lonely. And then when we got to writing the movie, I thought, well, I'm not going to make him have sort of, a father who's an explorer and a mother who lives in France. I'm going to think what would be difficult now in my village. So I gave him a mum who was working as a nurse, overworked as a nurse. It's a sort of pandemic story, and a dad who just left and was still living in London. So I think that, I try and write what's real to me, and I assume that that's going to be of interest to other people rather than having to sort of make up stuff, which I don't feel.
Sure. Whose idea was it for Love Actually and putting clips in the film?
It was not my idea. It was very rude. I came in one day. I thought it was going to be a clip from some ghastly, American miracle on 58th Street. But I think, so it's a moment where they say, don't want to watch the horrible, boring Christmas movie. It turned out to be my movie, but it is 20 years old now, so I think it's fair.
I personally loved it. And I like that the connection, a lot of people won't realize what the connection is, but I knew the connection.
So did I.
So one of the things is you write about the holidays a lot and Christmas. And what is it about the holidays that has resonated with you, that has caused you to write so much about it?
I think it's changed, actually. When I wrote Love Actually, I was very interested in Christmas as a sort of deadline. I always used to sort of be half in love with a girl and think I better buy a present that proves that I'm in love. And now what I love about Christmas is that it's the one time a whole family, a really broad family, about 30 of us all come together and take stock of our lives. So I think Christmas is a sort of moment when you work out, are you happy? Are you sad? How are things going? What could the future hold? So I think Christmas is like a really good time to set a story that's about childhood, family, and community.
As a fan of your work, what are you currently working on?
I'm trying to experiment with a few new things. I might be doing a musical. I might be writing a short book. I even tried to write a poem. So I'm not over optimistic. I think if anyone wants to enjoy my work, they should watch this film. It might be their last chance.
I'm going to say no. There's going to be more. But do you have like a desk filled with unproduced ideas and scripts, or is what's your ratio for writing something and getting it made?
My ratio is it's recently got better because I spend like half my time doing my charity work, and therefore I don't make the films I shouldn't make because I'm waiting such a long time. But over the whole of my career, it's 50-50. There are about 7 films I wrote that never got made. There's, 2 sitcoms I wrote that never got made. So it's about, people should be encouraged if they think that I've written films that they like. I've also written films that they wouldn't have liked.
You never know. On that note, I got to stop. And I'm just going to say I do hope to see Pirate Radio's Longer Cut at some point.
Thank you very much indeed.
On that note, good luck with the rest of your speed dating.